Welcome back to the channel. My name is Crawford. This is Virginia's for Lowriders. If you've never been here before, we are building a B-Series Mazda pickup truck. This pickup truck has had pretty much everything that you can do to a vehicle done to it and going to be done to it over the course of who knows how long. We are up to almost 45 episodes of this build. So if you've never been here, go check out the other 40 some odd videos. We go over everything: suspension, engine, exhaust. We body dropped it. We made a 3-link from scratch. The people that have been here 100 times to see the videos, they understand. They've heard me say this over and over. But again, if you've never been here before, go check out everything. Don't forget to subscribe and do all the normal YouTube-y things. And back to the normal, what we're trying to get done. We have a really long list we're trying to chip away at. There's some pretty good progress made this week. I left off last week with, I hope I can get the truck in primer so that I can paint the truck, well, the cab. We're not doing body work yet. There's not enough time. We need to be at Mini Nats in like a handful of days, like 6-7 days, whatever it is, next Friday. And it's Saturday now. So we need to get as much done as possible to where it sort of resembles a truck. Truck's not going to be in the show. I signed up for this whole idea way too late. I understand all that. But we're still bringing it. That way everybody can check it out. I can meet me, see the truck in person, and see if what y'all see on camera looks the same in person, I guess. But, like I said, the idea is to get paint on the truck this weekend. I actually came out here till midnight almost this entire week. I took Thursday off, but up until Thursday we were kicking butt. There's a lot done, so I'm going to add all of that footage in. I'll give explanations of everything that I've done and things that I probably should have done a little better, but overall it turned out pretty good. So we'll go through that real quick. I'll try and do a little voiceover. I was so in the mindset of trying to get this done, I didn't even talk to the camera. I just turned the camera on and I started working. So I'll try and do some voiceover. We'll go over everything I've done so far, and then we'll come back and we'll show it off. Because so far, it's not bad. So yeah, stick around. Go subscribe. Go check out the videos. Let's show some work instead of me rambling for a minute. I figured I wouldn't bore y'all since last week we did tons of bodywork related things. I actually ended up spending probably 4 or 5 hours on Monday night finishing up all of the bodywork on the roof and on the cab and everything. This here is 3M seam sealer. It is ready to be painted within, I think, like 45 minutes of applying it. It goes on super smooth. Basically, I lay it out, rub it down, get it smooth with my finger. As you can see here with my weird concentration face I got going on. I don't know what I'm doing. And I go through, clean it up with a paper towel and some acetone. Coming in with some 2K high build primer. I ended up doing about 3 coats of this. The thing with 2K is it does shrink. At least the cheaper stuff does. The high-end stuff tends to not shrink as bad as the expensive stuff, but they both shrink to an extent. This stuff just tends to shrink a little bit more. So it could come back and bite me in the butt. But I wasn't spraying it on super thick, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. As you can see here, came out super smooth. It actually almost has a sheen to it. Got all that completely dry, set up for a whole night. Let the garage bake at basically like 75 degrees. I just cranked up the mini split and let it do its thing. You can see here, went through, got all the cracks and crevices with gray scratch sprite. Got it as smooth as I possibly could in all those areas with that. Block sanded the entire rest of the truck with 400 grit. And this stuff here, such a huge time saver. I wish I would have started buying this stuff 10 years ago. I've always bought the stuff with the paper on the back. And the paper, you have to tape the paper to paper, and it doesn't always cover everything. This extremely cheap plastic stuff off Amazon, It's one of my new favorite things. I'm going to use it on every paint project I got from now on. It doesn't bleed. It's so simple to use. I'll show y'all an example of it once I get done rambling through all of this stuff that I've done in the last couple days. Highly, highly recommend. And it doesn't really cost very much, especially for the time that it saves. I don't know if you've all ever recorded yourself doing anything. I find that I make some really strange faces while nobody's paying attention to me and I'm not actually rambling along. But here, laying down the base coat. When I first did the base coat, this entire corner fisheyed on me. I don't know what caused it, and I don't know how I was able to actually fix it. I ended up letting it dry, get a little bit tacky, and then I did a really light mist, and I was able to actually bury it and not have any issues. This is base coat, no clear. This is the sheen that comes straight from the base coat. What's crazy about this is I didn't know when I purchased the paint for this that the truck paint from the factory is actually supposed to be a metallic. It's wild. Here, this is after all of the clear coat. This is about three heavy, basically 4 coats of clear. You can see my lines are relatively straight, especially in the front half where I really concentrated. Everything's looking smooth and pretty glossy. So this here is the work that I did last night. I was out here until about 1 o'clock in the morning trying to get this back wall somewhat smoothed out, which again really doesn't make any sense because it's completely covered up with the bed. I don't know. The O.C.D. takes over and does whatever it wants to do, and then the A.D.D. makes me stray away from stuff and go sit down and I don't know, do something different, and I see something shiny in the corner of the garage and you won't see me for an hour and a half. But here, wax and grease removed, pulling all the bulkheads out of everything. This is fine line 3M tape. I know I say 3M a lot, but it's just what I end up buying because most of the time it doesn't let me down. After everything's fine lined, I go back over top of the fine line with that same masking stuff that I was talking about. If anybody wants a link, let me know. I'll add a link to this stuff. It's like $20 for 4 rolls or something. It's ridiculous how cheap it is. It is so... You'll see. I cut it off. Real simple. And then just pull the end of it. Wrap it around. Tape it somewhere else. And you're done. It's not all that hundreds of tiny little pieces of tape because you try to use your grandpa's newspaper clippings from the 80s to save yourself $10, and then you end up spending $45 in the amount of tape you have to use to hold everything together. Believe me, it's worth not having the headache. So just like the front inner fenders, the frame rails, pretty much everything, I'm trying to give this thing a little bit more rugged look because I want to keep the truck aspect of it. I'm going to have the forward drive fenders and stuff. I'm using the same Duplicolor rattle can bed liner that I've had good luck out of on other projects and done wheel wells and fender tubs and everything. I painted the back of this cap all, and it turned out pretty good. So before I show you all the finished results, keep in mind, my garage is a dust collecting haven. It's getting warmer, there's bugs, so there's some trash in it, but overall, my bodywork turned out good. The clear coat, the base coat, everything looks great. Primer looked great. I was tackling a bit of fish-eyeing in the beginning, but luckily I was able to bury that in paint and clear, and it didn't come back out. So there is trash, so when you see it at Mini Nats, just remember, it needs to be wet sanded. I don't have a paint booth, obviously. I have a extremely dirty garage. So it'll get wet sanded and buffed, and every little bit of trash that you see in it it'll get sanded out. And I'll even polish those little bugs to a mirror shine. Some of them bugs are about the size of a bald eagle. It's pretty terrible, but here is the final results. It's covered in dust now because I've been continuing to work for the last couple days, but the lines are nice and straight. I use the lines on the ceiling, or the lights on the ceiling, as a reference to how straight the bodywork got. Keep in mind, this stuff is still like a flimsy potato chip here, twisted every which way, but the gloss that we got out of it and the smoothness of everything. I know it's just the door jambs and the roof of the truck, but it's pretty good. I'm happy with it. I did miss a couple small spots, a couple of real light dings here and there. Of course, it was the only part that I wasn't hammering and dialing because I was so focused on making the roof straight. I missed back there, but it's okay. It's a truck built in a garage. Doesn't have to be perfect. Last night we got the cab wall all finished up and looking good. It's a little blotchy right now, but that stuff's a little weird, and same stuff I used on here. It takes a couple weeks or so for it to kind of dull out to all the same sheen. But so far, it's looking pretty good. I'm happy with the results. See a little bug there. There's a bald eagle in the paint up there. There's a pterodactyl right there. But other than that, it's not bad. Jams are nice and smooth. There is orange peel, there is dirt, and there is dust. But it'll all come out. I firmly believe in, if you paint in an environment like this, it's going to happen, but you can fix it. You can fix a lot of stuff with wet sanding and buffing. So none of that bothers me. There's plenty enough clear on there. There's basically 4 coats of clear. I was going to go 5. I didn't mix enough clear because I wasn't sure how much it was going to soak up, but it is what it is. There's enough there to buff. So we're going to cut back into what James and I were doing this morning. He came over and hung out for a little bit. We cleaned up the dash. I wanted to get the dash completely clean before the windshield goes in. Hopefully I can install the windshield either tomorrow morning, maybe Monday morning. I'm trying to get all of the glass in it, the top in it, and just hang the crappy dull doors on it for now. Like I said, it just needs to resemble a truck so y'all can see what we've done so far, because it's a lot of people seem interested in seeing it in person and seeing basically the results so far, and it'd be cool, I guess, for y'all to see it now in the building stage, and then mini nats next year y'all can see it hopefully completely done. Hopefully it don't take that long, but we're gonna get back into it. I'm not positive what we're gonna do tonight. It's already pretty late. I had to again do normal house stuff with grass mowing, and my yard is made out of weeds. I'll just say that. I mowed my weeds earlier. I picked up, I did some stuff, did grocery shopping again, which is always exhausting. So I think this weekend, to continue this weekend, I'm trying to get this stuff painted. Try and paint in between here and here. Paint this back up because I got overspray from painting all of this. I'm going to try and get the windshield in. I know the paint's a little soft to be manhandling in this area and prying and pushing and all that. I don't know if I'll put this in until maybe sometime in this week. I don't know if I'm ready to bolt the top in just yet because the paint is still soft. Not soft enough to where you can like scratch it with your fingernail, but it's been in the garage. It hasn't fully cured. It's not 100 degrees in here. So we're going to get back to work. I'll show you what we were doing this morning, and then we'll jump right into taping some stuff up and bouncing around and doing our normal A.D.D thing like we've done every single week for 40 some odd weeks. So I'm not really sure if this is going to work, but I bought this thing like 2 months ago for doing interior stuff. We'll see if it actually does anything. It's really loud. Might need to get a brush down in there.
hit it from like, do you have a small like detailing brush?
Yes, I do. Let's try this.
You gonna do like a detailing video, ASMR?
Yes.
Get your mic down there so they can hear the sound.
It seems completely pointless, but I don't know of any other time I would ever be able to clean this. And it's pretty nasty in there.
Oh, that's grimy.
In the beginning of this build, I probably should have just taken the dash out. Probably would have saved
These
me a lot of
dashers
time.
are a pain.
Probably would have saved a lot of time, but it's a little late for that now. I'm not pulling it out. Let's see if it loosens any of that up.
Yeah. Because look at the
Probably
back.
a mixture. It looks like it's been painted.
Yeah, look at here. I don't
It's
know
like
if
the
that's
dash used to be
overspray.
black or something.
Oh, that's overspray. But yeah, Awesome always takes the sheen off interior panels.
Yeah. It was just really, really nasty yesterday.
Armor all it up. It'll come back.
No. I hate that stuff.
A little water alert.
It smells like old cigarettes or something.
You know what it reminds me of? If you ever, I mean, this kind of old school, use the iron.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. Because
Well,
like an iron.
Well, the iron
mist.
steams, yeah, but
Yeah.
the smell of the whatever's in the vent coming out of there smells like.
Old cigarettes.
Smell that. It smells terrible.
It does.
And this is a brand new
It
brush.
smells like cigarettes with Simple Green. I ain't got a problem with either one.
You've been smoking Simple Green?
It says spraying enough to where it foams. It smells good. You smell it?
It smells like candy.
I like that. I'm gonna have to get me that for some of that stuff. That way, when after you clean the car, it has like a nice clean smell to it.
This one you let sit?
Yeah. No. That was the carpet stuff you let sit for 3 minutes. It says you scrub it.
It says recommended to do on a spot to see if it is going to damage anything.
Oh, I didn't read that part.
Too late now.
I'm not good at
So,
this.
I got some. Well, let me start over. James stopped by. We decided we're going to throw the windshield in. Hopefully, it's not a bad choice. We're starting off with the Windshield Primer.
It smells terrible.
It is an awful, awful smell. This is a very, I don't know, don't get it on your skin. And it's supposed to do just a single light pass. You don't want to go crazy with this stuff. Actually, got a little mess there. Again, I'm not a windshield guy. I just do a lot of random things. So there's probably windshield guys yelling at me again in the comments. I don't have the right tools to do things, but we're making it work. That's all that counts.
You're like a little Bob Ross right now.
Yeah. Happy little windshield here. Oh, I'm not supposed to get it on the glass.
We're going to lose the shot.
The government.
This footage isn't shaky.
The GoPro has pretty good stability.
I'm trying my best.
I'm pretty sure if that GoPro can be mounted to a motorcycle, you'll be alright on the footage.
Do you know what?
Usually you'd have like a little applicator ball thing. I don't have one of those. So we got the arts and crafts section from the local Walmart brush here. I think I'm putting on a little thick, but it'd be okay.
Look at that form.
Yeah, that's a squiggly line form here. This stuff's eating the brush.
What?
The Walmart brush is probably not the best idea. Usually when I do equipment windows, I don't care about this step. I've never had a window act up before, or come out, or go loose, or anything like that. I usually skip the primer step, but it's an automotive thing that
So it's highway speeds?
they preach. Yeah, I guess highway speeds maybe. Even though equipment gets towed on the back of a rollback down the highway.
What happens when the windshield flies off on the way to mini mats Friday?
We just keep driving.
Okay.
So we're gonna let that sit for 10 minutes. You can let go. I went through, just because it's brand new paint and it's extremely glossy, I gray Scotch-Brighted the edge of this, went through with rubbing alcohol, cleaned it up. There's a Scotch-Brite. Originally the windows have these little plastic clip things. If you're doing this on an older vehicle, don't throw away those clip things. Mine weren't there, and they had all of this stuff glued to the windshield. From the factory, it's supposed to be a couple of these, not, I don't know, as many as they could find, I guess. So since I didn't have these, and there's supposed to be 3 of them, I went out inside and measured my parts truck, came up with that I needed to be a 1/2 inch from the head of the bolt up. So I made a couple spacers, and once the window is set in for the next 2 or 3 days, or probably right before we leave, I'll go ahead and pull these off and chuck them in the trash, and the window will be held in place where it needs. Well, I didn't read the container until after I put the primer on the windshield, and we thought we was going to do something today, because this day is turning out to not be a productive day. Hopefully tomorrow is. At least this week was productive and I actually got something done. So the window is primered. Hopefully it's okay being primered all night long, because I didn't read the tube that I had. I had 2 bottles of 3M. I thought that this one was a window weld, or window whatever. Turns out they are both seam sealer, so we're calling it a night. It's already like midnight. And to the parts store first thing in the morning to put the windshield in, and then do some painting, and yeah, I'm tired.
Just me, but I never had bare metal either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We always took it out and then just taped the edge when we painted the car. Yeah, that sucks.
And we did an hour worth of Googling to see if.
Seems it would work.
Yeah, they're both polyurethane, according to the 3M bottles.
Alright. You might be that way 1/8 of an inch, but that doesn't matter.
Alright, my buddy Mike came by, helped me throw the windshield in the truck. It's looking pretty good. I don't think I put quite as much of the sealant on there as I should have. It's a little thin. It's completely glued up. It's not going to leak. It's just the way this cheap windshield's shaped. I'm a little closer to the window touching the frame that I would like to be. But it is what it is. It's glued in there now, and it's not coming out unless you cut it back out, because that stuff sets up pretty quick. But it's looking pretty good. I have all of the factory trim. I just don't have the clips. I ordered them off eBay and they haven't shown up yet. I'll be towing the truck without the trim. Doesn't really matter because the truck's not done anyway. So when you see it, expect to see my blobby glue job I did here. Didn't really care because the trim covers all of this. It's pretty big. So we're going to move on to the next thing. I would like to, again, you don't see this stuff, but I'm here. I might as well finish it, make it look decent. I want to back tape all of this, paint this whole section. But first, to get it out of the way, because it's such a beautiful day, minus the crazy wind, I want to get these guys painted up. I was going to steal them off the parts truck, but the parts truck has just as rough of piece of plastic as these. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time getting these smoothed out with probably some 400 grit. And we'll throw probably the same black, satin black tractor paint that I used on the fuel tank, the rear end, and the link bars. I think that'll be a good contrast here. They're supposed to be black from the factory. I don't really care for them when they're paint matched, so that's what we're going to work on. Taping, we're going to bounce around. Of course, like I say every time, A.D.D, we'll see how far I get before I stray away into something else. So after going over it a few times with the block sander, you can see this entire thing, and these are all low spots. This thing has like a, I don't know if it's how they cast it, has an actual dent in it. It's plastic. So I'm going to sand on it for a little bit and see if I can get basically everything lower, but there's a good chance that that's not going to come out, and I really don't want to put body filler on this. Mine. So this is the stuff that I said I was going to talk about for a little bit. You can get 4 rolls of this off Amazon for 20 bucks. It is extremely simple. Like I said, I've used the paper version a bunch over the years. I'm just going to give an example. It's a pretty stout roll. Paper version, you are unfolding it. Usually it's only the size of the roll. So you have this little piece of paper, then you have to tape a big piece of paper to it. Either that or you have a large piece of paper and it gets all crinkled and weird. With this, just say it's like this. The size of this stuff is awesome. You can cover the entire cab of the truck almost with this tiny roll, and they sell this stuff in tons of different sizes. So highly recommend. I got the pieces outside drying for the cab. I'm gonna go ahead and get this portion of the cab painted up, taped up, and then painted, and keep this ball rolling. It's kind of late already. Spent a lot of time contemplating things I want to do out here, and I don't know. Apparently that's more A.D.D stuff or something. I don't know what causes it, but we're out here. We're getting stuff done. Not as fast as we did Monday through Friday, but regardless, accomplishing something. I know it seems kind of ridiculous to go to the extent of painting this cow piece when it already has a bunch of random layers of paint that should definitely be fine to protect it from anything. But the cowl sits on here, and the cowl has vents on it. So my thought is, when the cowl's on here, you can see through the vents, and you'll see whatever trash is on here. Might not be super noticeable, but when everything is sort of dark and black in there and you have silver, it'll stick out. It'll be like, wow, that guy didn't finish doing that part. Before I peel it off, I just want to show, this is what I meant. This is one little piece of that stuff. The span of the windshield covers all the way to the back of the truck. Just tape it. I mean, a lot of people know about it, obviously, because they sell it every day, but for those who have never seen it, or those who are used to the paper version, huge difference between this and the old school paper version. And you know, when you have paper, the cleanup and the space that the paper takes up would probably fill this trash bag. But it turned out pretty good. Got to clean up that edge a little bit. It's not bad. Looks significantly better than it did. Really need to clean the engine bay now that it's completely full of body dust. It never fails for something to go wrong and to cause a delay for something else. I was spraying those pillar things, which they look great now, nice and smooth. I was spraying them with the good old $9 purple gun. That's the reason I buy so many purple guns. They're $8, $9, and you get like a good 2 or 3 uses out of them before the seals in them are just garbage and you go buy another one. It almost costs more to clean it than it does to buy another one. For the price of how much lacquer thinner is for a gallon, it's literally almost more to just clean the thing than it is to toss it in the trash. I was trying to press my luck on my 4th round of using that specific gun, and it started spitting and letting out little chunks of paint. So 2 hours and something later, I had completely stripped both of the pillars down, completely back to bare plastic, and repainted them. So that's where we're at now. So we're gonna let that dry. We got the cowl done. One thing I want to do, I kind of wanted to do a gray, but I don't have any gray, and I'm kind of impatient, and I think black would look fine because you only see one portion of the pillars in this truck. You can see right here to about here, and the seat covers from here down. This was a base model truck, so it didn't have any plastic trim. So I want to paint these pillars on both sides and then paint around the window surround. Eventually, when I figure out how I want to do the headliner, that'll be a later on project. I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to pull these seat belts off. I have a little bit more of that satin black in the gun. I'm just going to hit it with a Scotch-Brite, tape up the cab, and paint all of this inner structure black. That part completely gets covered with plastic. I have all those plastics. I have the front stuff, like the mirror and the visors and all that. I don't think I'm going to put that in until I figure out the headliner. But I do want to get this all painted up. That way, when the window is in, this never has to come back apart. Hopefully. Real quick before we wrap this up, I wanted to go over the products that I used. I'm not saying that this is what you should buy. This stuff is actually considered cheap stuff in the paint world. To me, it's affordable and you get pretty decent results and you can make it look good, especially for something that you're going to do in your house. To me, it's not worth spending $1,000 or plus on paint because I don't have a painting account for the body shop. I just buy it as a public person. I don't know, however that works. I don't get a discount on it, so it's, let's just say it cost me around $800 to paint a truck. That's local pricing. That's just walking on off the street and buying everything. Base coat, clear coat, primer, all of the stuff that mixes with it, and the supplies. That doesn't include paint guns, that doesn't include strainers, stirring sticks. Most paint shops will give you those things, but you can do all of this cheaper. There are places online, like the paint that I painted my pickup truck with is Amazon paint. It's a satin paint, which I'll just walk out here and show you all that. It cost me, it's like $160 to paint my truck. It's filthy right now, but when it's actually clean and not yellow from the pollen, it looks pretty good. Like I said, this is $160 from, this is just single stage, there's no clear coat. So I'll show you these things real quick and then I think we're gonna wrap it up. So I'm using a Shopline Plus acrylic urethane base coat. I am using a Shopline 2K surfacer, which is essentially a filler in itself. All of the Shopline things that go along with these paint products, and the clear coat is also a Shopline. This is actually a rapid spot panel clear. It is, I don't think it's intended to do the things that I do, but I've been getting awesome results out of it. A friend of mine works for a paint shop. He's been doing it for like 40 years. He's been doing it long enough that he's retired and he does it in free time. He recommended the Shopline Clear and he's used it for years and he's painted really high-end vehicles with it. So I've done 2 things with it so far and had awesome results out of it. It wet sands and buffs easily. It comes straight out of the gun, super high gloss. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got. If there's anything else that y'all have any questions about in any of my videos, just ask in the comments and I'll try to answer it and try to give you links and suggestions to the best of my knowledge. I'm not saying that you have to buy any of this and any of this is a how-to, just things that I've used over the years and had success out of. It is now 7:30, almost 8 o'clock, I think. I buttoned up some stuff. I was hoping to get a little further along this weekend, but since I actually came out here this week and knocked out all this paint, I'm technically ahead of the schedule that I set for myself a couple weeks ago. I got the window installed, all cleaned up and looking good. I'll take my little wood blocks off probably in the next day or so. Start installing that trim. I don't think that the clips for this will be here in time. Started installing this gasket. Here's the final results of all of this painted black. I think it looks pretty good because it'll blend in with that dark gray. And I installed the cab corners and they came out super smooth. I am extremely happy with the way that looks. This is the way it's supposed to have been from the factory, but it is it's pretty sharp looking. They're still kind of wet, not wet, but if you squeezed it real hard you could probably put your fingerprints in it. I got them installed on both sides. That sheen against that gloss is it's pretty good. Starting to Add a couple things, a couple clips and latches and gaskets. I put the trim on here, even though I can't. I probably hang the mirror and the visors in there for now so I don't lose them. I put this plastic thing back in. I'm probably gonna have to paint this. I got this from a junkyard. Like I said, this was a base model truck. It didn't really come with any creature comforts at all, and that thing is a junkyard piece. I think it'll clean up good if I paint it. But yeah, this is pretty good progress for a week. This turned out pretty nice. I'm happy with it. And to add to all of this, I took off all week from work. So y'all will actually see, I'm going to post probably close to about the same time a mini nats video and another build progress video. So they'll be kind of overlapping. I should have enough footage in the next couple days if I get out here and actually get something done. I'm actually going to go buy a parts car potentially on Wednesday. So that day's going to be kind of messed up. But I have Monday, Tuesday, but most of the day Wednesday and Thursday to get as much of this assembled as possible. I'm hoping I can convince myself to wake up early enough in the morning and come out here and potentially paint the back of the doors, because I'd really like to paint them before they get bolted to the truck. Because if I paint them, I can leave them on the truck and spray the fenders and the doors at the same time and have the metallic paint flow correctly and all that stuff that comes along with that. And then my buddy Mike, the same guy that was over helping me put the windshield in this morning, dropped off his trailer. My trailer has a scrap truck on it. My pickup truck's messed up. It needs the rear end rebuilt. I don't have time to do it. So I'm going to borrow his trailer. I'm going to rent a truck. So I got to pick that up on Thursday night. There's all kinds of stuff. I'll be there in a rental, which is weird. I've never rented a truck before. And I'll be borrowing a trailer, which I usually just use my own. So, again, thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, do all the normal YouTube-y things. Go check out all the other videos. And I will see you at Mini Nats. And those for people that aren't going to Mini Nats, I'll see you all next Sunday. Thanks for watching.